Muy buenos días.
Good morning, honorable ladies and gentlemen. The Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture, Home of Agriculture of the Americas, is honored to greet you all. And we warmly welcome you to the commemoration of the 80th anniversary of the establishment of IICA in Costa Rica and for the Americas. We are honored by the presence at the head table. We would like to greet His Honorable Saboto Caesar, Minister of Agriculture, Fishery, Agriculture, Agroforestry, Fisheries, Rural Transformation Industry, and Labor of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and the Ministers of Agriculture of the Americas, Mr. Manuel Notero, Director General of IICA, the representative of the Ministry of Agriculture of Costa Rica, Mr. Lloyd Day, Deputy Director. We would like to greet the honorable ambassadors of the member states of the and observer countries and associated countries to IICA accredited to Costa Rica. We greet His Honorable Carlos Alvarado, Minister of Science and Technology of Costa Rica, the Honorable Congressman of the Legislative Assembly of Costa Rica, members of international organizations, senior authorities of the Costa Rican government, the Honorable Directors Emeritus of IICA, and relatives of those who have left us. Ms. Amanda Montero, Mrs. Murillo, Beatriz Arrieta, Representative Bayer, Kenneth Suarez, Representative Credit Union, members of the community outreach, community IICA officers, former officers of IICA, relatives of the Director General that are joining us virtually, and all those persons that are honoring us in this live broadcast through social media. Welcome, everyone. We are now honored in transmitting the video of Mr. Marcos Montes Cordero, Minister of Agriculture, Livestock of the Federation of Brazil and President of the 21st meeting of the Inter-American Board of Agriculture, IABA. Go ahead with the video, please. Hello. As President of the Inter-American Board of Agriculture, I would like to greet you and congratulate you for this effort. This is a great institution that has built solid and reliable partnerships throughout the hemisphere and with all 34 members, and helping these members with implement essential projects for the development of our activities. We would like to defend the interest of agriculture and agriculture discussion, and to support sustainable and inclusive agriculture. Another important role for IICA is to promote dialogue among nations. Some recent examples are the initiative aimed at the trade with Eastern Europe. And in the last meeting of the Ministers of Agriculture of the Americas and Africa, we are seeking to ensure food security. IICA has been discussing the challenges of sustainable agricultural practices. And we have been discussing a series of actions to undertake in COP27. This is an important initiative to coordinate an effort and highlight the role of agriculture as a solution to climate challenges. These are some of the examples of our fundamental role at IICA in the agriculture sector of the Americas and of other regions. Congratulations to IICA on its 80 years of work and support. We will now hear the video message of Ms. Laura Suazo, Secretary of State of Agriculture and Livestock of Honduras and Chair of the President of the 42nd Executive Committee of IICA. Go ahead. Today, as Secretary of Agriculture and Livestock of Honduras, I joined in the celebration of the 80th anniversary of IICA. The IICA for us is a very important strategic partner that has been with us throughout different processes in developing policies for future years and to find a rapid way out, those strategies, programs, projects that give an immediate response to a context full of food insecurity and where we find a great potential to grow in agriculture business. Regardless of how a country is poverty-wise and in other circumstances, but when we have a clear vision of how the agri-food sector can improve us, and when we get the support of organizations like we can move forward. For us, it is a pleasure to be IICA partners, and we would like to congratulate you all with great appreciation. Congratulations, IICA. Thank you very much. We will now offer the floor to our colleagues, Guido Nehankings and Randall Cordero from our Institutional Communications Department. Go ahead, please. Thank you, Miguel. Welcome, everyone, once again. I would like also to welcome all our colleagues, all the people that are joining us at this time of commemoration through IICA social media. We will later tell you how many people we have, where they are from, but we know there are thousands of people from different countries listening, not only from our continent, but from beyond. First, I want to mention that as Miguel Serra, together with my colleague Randall Cordero, we will be the masters of ceremonies as the Institutional Communications Department. And we would, at this time, would like to present a commemorative book, a book to commemorate the 80th anniversary of IICA, which, aside from requiring days and nights of a lot of hard work, was quite a challenging book, in fact. We will see the front cover of the book and representative photographs of the publication made specifically for IICA's 80th anniversary. Let me tell you quickly how the origin of the book, why we developed it, what it contains. I will try to be brief. It was a lot of teamwork. Many people participated. The Director General, as usual, encourages us to do new things. So in this case, he encouraged us to develop this publication to celebrate the 80th anniversary of this institution. Of course, the first idea was, well, let us write a book that tells the history, very rich, fruitful, with many lines and actions and interesting things in favor of rural and agricultural development in the continent. And then we started to investigate and look in all our records. And we came across outstanding treasures, both in publications as well as photographs, historical photographs. And we came across, also thanks to the support of Blanca, Mauro, Lily, this secretaries of the Director General, we found that the history of IICA was very well told, because we came across very well written books with many photographs, very good text made for the 50th anniversary, for the 60th anniversary, and then for the 70th anniversary of IICA in the year 2012. So, consulting the Director General, we said, okay, let us make something different. At least we trusted and felt that the institutional history was very well told, very well documented already. So what we tried to do instead was a book that would pay tribute to all those that have built and continue to build IICA's history and pave the road of the institution towards its 100th anniversary. And I am sure that regardless of where we are, we will be celebrating that within 20 years. So we said, okay, let us include here all the leaders of the rurality in the Americas. This was an initiative, or is an initiative, a very successful initiative with a good impact on social media. We are very happy to see that some of the leaders of rurality, and through IICA and the support of IICA offices, we discovered them. Many of them contacted us to tell us what they are doing in the different countries in the field. So all those leaders of rurality are present in this new book that we will be sharing with you electronically briefly so that you can enjoy it and read. I hope you enjoy it. Many of these leaders have received awards. The Soul of Rurality, which is the title of the book, in fact, and includes, aside from the profiles of each one of them, we decided to include the history of the founding fathers of IICA, the Directors General, Directors Emeritus, IICA chairs, goodwill ambassadors, and the artists from AgroArt, and artists that IICA's art museum, and artists that in 2020 were so important in when the pandemic kicked off, and helped us value that the world was recognizing the work of health professionals. So at IICA, we tried to acknowledge the work of the farmers and producers out in the field that were helping us survive that difficult moment, so that to ensure everyone had a meal on the table. I apologize for all this mess here. I guess this is basically, I'm following what the Director General asked, to be a very different, and so remember that we are celebrating a birthday, and we will pay tribute to all those that deserve that merit today. Though all those that have brought us to this moment, and I believe we all coincide that IICA, as active, as visible, as present, and as recognized by all the counterparts that IICA works with. And I forgot one thing. Excuse me for taking a few more moments. But I would like to talk about the origin of this award, the Soul of Rurality, and why we wanted to recognize the leaders of rurality for their actions in favor of food security, community work, and progress of rural communities. Well, why? Because the Director General said, we are in a phase at IICA where we are working with a series of counterparts, and we work very much with multilateral credit organizations and with other international organizations. We work very much with the private sector, ever more with governments, very strongly, but we're still missing something that can connect us more and more with the field itself, with the people that are out there working the land. These are the leaders of rurality in the Americas. In the profiles, you will see there are farmers, scientists, teachers, artists, as I said, obviously statisticians, directors emeritus, directors of IICA, entrepreneurs, all of them with their stories and their significant contributions to the agriculture sector. And that is why they deserve this recognition. This is the book. These are 80 profiles, 80 persons, 80 years of IICA. So we invite you to see a video that tells some of the stories of the people that are in this book. And today we have the honor, additionally, of one virtually and one in person. Leaders of Rurality are with us today. We will listen to them in a moment. Go ahead, please. "30 men and women from more than 20 countries of the Americas were acknowledged by IICA as leaders of rurality in 2020 and 21. These leaders are the vital blood of communities, towns, rural areas. They highlight the quiet leadership, and they help us transform, overcome adversities, and inspire. IICA also shared the life experiences and work experiences of leaders in favor of agriculture of the hemisphere. We did this through more than 100 communications in social media with more than 1 million hits from people coming to visit. These are outstanding positive examples of the work done. Leaders of rurality. They will help us have food to consume and land to produce on. Men and women that have left footprints and that have transformed, overcome adversity, and inspire. Trihida is a Bolivian agronomist engineer who rescued the ancestral strategies, combining scientific and ancestral knowledge to grow cañahua, a grain with a high nutritional value developed by indigenous peoples in pre-Hispanic times. When she started to grow cañahua, this was used for self-consumption. Today, it is produced by more than 1,500 families that market and export to many countries. I believe the most important contribution I have made is to revalue the crop of cañahua. When I started 20 years ago in this activity, cañahua had no commercial value. It was basically produced for self-consumption. There was no product innovation for cañahua-based products. And over these last 20 years, I believe we have put cañahua up in the scenario not only of the community, but also at the municipal and department, even national level. I believe that people with disabilities, particularly in rural areas, are invisible. This is my invitation. I invite people that have any type of disability to leave their home and go look for alternatives. Let us show this disability. I believe that farmers are the fundamental part of our subsistence, right? And in seeking modern times, many producers also, due to lack of resources, well, they all dream to move into the city. And as an urban society, we have forgotten completely that we do need to eat fruits and vegetables that we feed from meat that comes from the field.
Am I going to die with this knowledge in me, or am I going to get this knowledge out to the greater?
I am a housewife, but I also grow coffee. I love coffee, and that is my job. And there are other value-added activities for coffee. I devote some time to my crop, and I like to grow. I have learned that Wanting to learn is to be able to do it.
And who have to deal with trying to grow food as we are experiencing climate chaos as we're going forward. But we also have a huge opportunity as farmers to be a part of the solution, and I believe it's our responsibility.
We try to support this company to give a job and good quality of life to the people that work on these crops. And also so that the end user has a worthy income also. And from these plants, many people live.
In the world. Without us, we won't survive. So may we never give up and stay focused, stay steadfast, and keep working hard to feed our people with healthy food to make us all well.
I invite youngsters to be determined to work to do things the right way and to receive training so that they can participate in sustainable agriculture. We want to replace our meat in all supermarkets in the country. This is our biggest dream, our biggest objective. And perhaps very soon we can begin outstanding transportation of meat production in our area. Basically, lamb meat. With all love for our brothers and sisters, I was born to help feeding them and caring for nature, the Pachamama. Organic production is a reality. Growers here in the area are not always thinking of using chemical products. We see youngsters in America. We need to understand that our origin comes from the rural areas, and those that do not know history are doomed to not live such a beautiful life as the one we have. As a rural woman, we have many opportunities, and that is precisely in our area. We are the area where we can give life to the city. We are the hands that build the food to meet the immediate needs of large cities. That is, we women are the fundamental instrument, the ideal help to develop society worldwide. They always see me like a leader because as part of my job, I also perform all my family duties. I am part of the cooperative of sugarcane called Cope Cañena, RL, for more than 25 years now. My work has been the national coordinator to support the Latin American coordination team and the creation of the sugarcane network. Well, thank you very much. First of all, allow me to say that the Director General did not tell us to just be inspirational at the time of this presentation. No, but I think this is working well. Looking at the photographs in the book, we see the amount of people that have contributed this. This was a signal that was given to us to show that these are part of the soul of rurality. Some contributed music, some contributed words, emeritus directors, led to the growth of this institution. So all of the people there, 90% of which I would say certainly deserved their making this contribution to agriculture and to IICA. So it is a pleasure to have produced the book and this video. And I would like to thank all the communications colleagues, not only here at headquarters, but in the other countries also. Very likely, and many of the names that appeared there, and if you do not remember those names, one of them, a Costa Rican, was with us here in the room. She is Sonia Murillo. Sonia, I would like to invite you to come up to the podium. Sonia, as you must recall, is a San Ramon sugarcane grower, a very beautiful area here in Costa Rica. And she is going to tell you her experience as a grower and what she is doing for agriculture in that beautiful place she lives. Thank you very much. I'm very grateful for having been invited to this event. It is an honor to be part of this book. I am almost celebrating my birthday together with the book, just a few days difference. But for me, to have been involved over the last few years in this movement for fair trade has meant to be a part, although for family reasons, my parents had farms and property. I would horseback. With my father, we would go to produce to the sugar mill and make sugar blocks. And with the effort my parents made, we were able to study, and we are all professionals. But I have always continued to be very linked, and I continue, even while I was at the university during vacation, we had to go out and pick coffee. So I did not disconnect, although for 45 years I worked in the area of education, but my love for my country, for my land, and the respect to agriculture have taken me over these last few years to participate in this movement. And at some points in time, to be the voice of those farmers, those producers who make not only a big effort to take support to their families, but also to their communities and their countries. All these producers that at this time are in the fair trade system, which I represent through the national coordination and the Latin American coordination. They are all doing an outstanding effort, huge effort, to take those products, that quality, and behind each one of those products, there is a face, like those faces that you saw in the presentation a moment ago. These are producers that have perfected their crops as most as possible, and that meet very demanding standards to reach North American and European markets, particularly. For that reason today, in this special recognition, I would like to represent all those persons from all countries that, through their effort, take food to society. Thank you very much. Thank you. Crossing our fingers so that communication works. We had some doubts as to whether Lorena Valdez could be here at this time. She's another leader of Rurality. She is an Ecuadorian grower, creator of an association that improved the living conditions of Afro-descendant women. She has been recognized by IICA as a Rurality leader. If you allow me to say a few more words about her. She founded the Association of Afro-Ecuadorian Women in the Future, AMATIL. For some 15 years now, she and the association she founded have been a true driver of community development in a small town in her country, Tindire, a town of 2,000 inhabitants in the province of Esmeraldas. The vast majority are Afro-descendants. And Lorena's work in favor of the organization of farmers and empowerment of Afro-descendant women and improving the better marketing of food products produced locally. We hope we can hear you appropriately. Lorena, welcome. Aside from leader of Rurality, distinguished by IICA, you're one of the protagonists of this book we are launching today to commemorate the 80th anniversary of IICA's foundation. Go ahead, Lorena. The floor is yours. We are listening to you here in Costa Rica and throughout the Americas. Thousands of people connected through social media.
Good evening, good afternoon. God bless you all. Thank you for this big opportunity you provide to me to be part of this big process, because it's not a model, it is a process of training, of creation of family agriculture in the whole country, in the countries and the whole world. This day, let me to congratulate IICA for the 80th anniversary, and within the process of this IICA's walking, we have been as farmers from the northern part of the Esmeralda province. We have been part of this big process here in the Esmeraldas province, thanks to the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock, and thanks to the IICA's technical people that are strengthening the rural organizations, the farmer organizations of growers, for us to carry on with the processes, with the important practices, with the good practices of breeding, of production, with quality. And all this led us as women, as farmers in our Ecuador, in our province, in our county, Eloy Alfaro, to be part of the economy, of the dynamization of the economy in our land. And we lost her. Well, because of connectivity issues, so we get up to here with Lorena. We will continue calling her and inviting her to participate in other IICA events. And for you to know that she is there as a living example of. I want to thank Marco Benicio Zapata. He approaches us to Lorena and talked to us about Lorena's work. And so with this appreciation, I invite the offices, the IICA's colleagues, to continue suggesting names of leaders, of this kind of leaders, to add names and to have a contact with more of these people that leave their footprint in the field from the United States, from Canada. In the video, we show a small group, but there's many more leaders recognized by IICA in countries that, because of time reasons, we were not able to include here, and probably we could do that in another opportunity. I'm referring to the United States, Uruguay, and some other countries that are not included here because of time reasons. So with this request to the offices and with our appreciation to the Ecuador office particularly, and to Marco Benicio Zapata in particular, I want to leave you in the hands of my colleague Randall to move to another chapter of this book, which is the recognition to Emeritus Director Generals and to the IICA's founders. Randall, floor is yours. Thank you. The book, The Soul of Rurality, is available in the institutional repository. And very soon we're going to send the corresponding communication with a press release and with and flooding all the social media with the contents of the book. So everybody is invited to download it and to read it and to provide the feedback. As the director said, it is a live book. We went up to 80 because it is the 80th anniversary, but there are many stories. I'm sure each one of you could suggest examples of people that deserved and that need to be known and to be inspired. Now, what we're going to do now is dedicated to the founders and directors and previous directors, former directors of IICA. This section is a very important section of the Soul of Rurality, and you can find indications or some information about the founders, the emeritus directors, and their contribution to the institution. Let's begin with this part. They will receive the founders, the emeritus director that is here with us and the relatives of those who are not with us anymore will receive a little gift. So Guido and Broco people begin with this activity. Thank you. We invite Director General to stand up to give the recognitions, the gifts. I want to thank here because the first one is the founder, IICA's founder, Mr. Henry Wallace. In representation of the government of the United States of America, we invite the agricultural of the Embassy of the United States in Costa Rica, Mr. Evangelo, to receive this award in memory of Henry Wallace, agronomist, engineer, writer, disseminator, founder of IICA, founder of IICA. Wallace was the vice president, secretary of agriculture, secretary of commerce of the United States of America. He was also goodwill ambassador of his country for Latin America. Wallace, who is remembered by us working here in IICA, there is Senator Hall as a memory for him. He was raised and born on a farm in Iowa. He defended the agriculture and he founded some of the most important companies that have contributed to modernize the sector. He was Secretary of Agriculture appointed in 1933 by President Franklin Roosevelt. And first of all, he was the man that did many things or most things for the relations, for friendship relations between his country and the Latin American and Caribbean region. He was also a big fighter for the race equity and participating in anti-segregation campaigns. When we withdrew from public life, he went back to the activities related to the agro and scientific research in agriculture. We celebrate and honor this father of IICA, Mr. Henry Wallace. Thank you. Director General and Deputy Director, please take your seats for a while we show the next video. Sometimes, well, it has happened to me when we go to do something somewhere. We believe that the story began there, but the exercise of introducing the emeritus directors has forced us to look backwards and to look for the file about them. There were many pictures from some period, and so we did the task, and it was quite important to know that IICA has a stock of pictures and biographies that are quite complete that we're going to try to enhance. And I really thank my colleagues for helping us to collect these pictures that you will see in the next video, particularly our colleague Rafa Cartin, who helped us to locate the pictures that you will see in a while. So let's watch the video of the historical pictures. So recognition to emeritus directors. So we're going towards this 100 years, which is on the corner. So those of you who would like to have this video, relatives or any former officer, the video is available. We can share it with you because this is valuable for us. I'm sure that for you it's going to be really special. Now we're going to give the recognition to the emeritus directors, represented by the relatives. I invite Manuel. If you want to say something before this recognition, go ahead. Thank you once again. Good morning, everybody. I always make a joke saying that I'm the 11th general director of IICA. If it was a soccer team, I'm the last player. I worked for 27 years in IICA, 27 years, and I'm really honored for this luck that I have had and that I'm having now that I have this responsibility to be the Director General of IICA. IICA has gone through 80 years with ups and downs, but trying to be a protagonist institution at the service of countries, as we used to say, with this DNA to struggle, and particularly when there are adverse situations. I joined IICA in '88. I was agricultural advisor in Washington, and a gentleman over there, Mr. Martin Pinheiro, I don't know if he was wrong, but it's his responsibility. He came to Washington because he needed to understand the American policy, and he asked me if I want to join IICA. I joined IICA as his advisor. Then I was director of programming and evaluation. Well, I started as representative of IICA in Brazil for 1 year and 2 months, and then he called me to the headquarters. I'm correcting my story right now. So Martin Pinheiro is somebody I really appreciate because he gave me the opportunity to join this wonderful institution. After Martin, I was lucky to work with Carlos Aquino. Her daughter is here, a wonderful person that did a lot for the institution. In 2000, because of the decision of my wife, we accepted to go back to Argentina. So we needed to came back to Argentina, and we did it. And I was lucky enough to work as a vice president of the National Institute of Agricultural Technology. So suddenly somebody called Soul of Rurality that goes to Buenos Aires as a candidate of the Barbados government to be the general director of IICA. So he told me, if I win, I would like you to come back to IICA. Or maybe I told him that I wanted to come back to IICA. So the story is a little bit confused. For sure, he wanted me to come back, and I have even more desires to come back. So thank you. Thanks to Chester Broadway, I started working in IICA as a representative in Uruguay. So I'm really thankful to Chancellor for this opportunity to coming back to IICA, my house. After him, we had Victor Villalobos. I was lucky enough to work under his guidance as IICA's representative in Uruguay. And then he told me, you have to be the next representative of IICA in Brazil. You need to go to take this position. I had the honor to work under the general direction of Victor Villalobos from 2011 to 2015, where I got the red card because it was time to retire. And we came back to Argentina with many desires to go back to the country. And I started thinking about my candidacy. I'm really grateful with the 3 emeritus directors, to Martin, who made me join IICA, Chesel, to make me come back to Hector, to the IICA. Carlos Aquino, I had the honor to meet Armando Samper, an amazing person. I also met Francisco Murillo. I was regional director of the Andean region, and I met with Francisco and Jorge Soria, with Rufo Bazán, Mariano Segura, and Armando Samper. We are really thankful with all of them. This is how story is created. We need to be the protagonist of this time and to best for the future. Now the future is the creation of the next 20 years, where IICA has to be a protagonist at the service of countries, of farmers, which are those who lead the transformation processes in rural areas. Not to take more time, I repeat my appreciation to everybody, those who I work with directly, those who indirectly met, and the invitation to continue working in order to build a relevant IICA at the service of the countries. Thank you. Thank you, General Director. Now we invite you again, as well as the Deputy Director, to stand up. We're going to call their direct relatives or the Emeritus Director Generals that are here with us to receive this recognition. Microphone is open for you if you want to share something with us in this important and nice ceremony for the institutional history. The first, this is the order. First, Emeritus General Director Armando Samper. So Mario Samper is here. We invite Mario to come here to receive this gift. Former officer of IICA, Armando Samper was an agronomist engineer. He was twice Minister of Agriculture in Colombia. He specialized in agricultural economy in the University of Cornell, and he developed quite academic intense academic activity in different universities, institutions of the government of his country, member of a well-known family in Colombia. His father was writer Daniel Samper Ortega, founder of the National Library in Colombia, uncle of the former president Ernesto Samper Pizano, and of the writer Samper Pizano. He made the effort to make a good use of the sugarcane, and he was the first director of the Research Center of Sugarcane in Colombia. And deepening in IICA, the work of his predecessor, he promoted the decentralization of the institute, giving it a new administrative and programmatic structure. Thank you for your presence, Mario. We invite you to the podium. Thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. On behalf of my sisters and my brother, all over the hemisphere, the grandsons and granddaughters of Armando. It is important to honor the memory of our ancestors, as it is important to know the history of our countries and our institution and rural leaders. We need to know, to understand, and to learn from our history, to live the present and to project the future. And to honor this memory is honoring this memory is trying to make a difference in the real world we live till the last day. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mario. I have to remember Jose Emilio Araujo, Emeritus Director General. He was director from 1970 and 1982, Brazilian agronomist, and from the General Director of IICA, he raised the institutional flag of projection, hemispherical and humanistic projection. And he took IICA's decentralization to the last, or the opening offices in the country members, strengthening the technical action, the institutional technical action. And during his administration, it is important to remind this. Many countries in the Caribbean joined IICA in order to receive technical cooperation services aimed to promote the agricultural development and rural development in the states of the Caribbean. He was also dean of the Federal University of Pelotas from the Brazilian state of Rio Grande do Sul, and honorary partner of the Brazilian Society of Science of Soil. We also remember Jose Emilio Araujo. And my colleague Randa will continue with the second part of this activity. Thank you, Guido. Hopefully, we have here relatives of the Emeritus Director Francisco Murillo, General Director of IICA during the period the term 1982-1986. While his son Javier comes here, let me tell you a little bit about the career of Mr. Murillo in IICA. He was an agronomist engineer of the University of Costa Rica. He got his master's degree, his magister in agriculture in the Inter-American Institute of Cooperation for Agriculture here. So his linkage with IICA was as a student, professor, consultant, regional director, representative, Venezuela, general director from 82 to 86, and of course, Emeritus Director. As General Director, he provided important services to modernize and to strengthen the Institute. He promoted the consolidation of the new organization, and he developed general policies to deal with matters of land possession, marketing, production, important role of the science and technology, and of course, he helped from IICA's management for the agriculture portfolio could help problems in the countries. Thanks to the dedication of Dr. Francisco Murillo Andrade, IICA provided effective technical cooperation to the countries in the hemisphere for the development of our member states. And finally, for his brilliant career, in 1985, he received the Inter-American Agricultural Medal awarded by IICA in between 29 countries, represented the Inter-American Board of Agriculture, the maximum body of this institute. So a round of hands for Mr. Francisco Murillo. On behalf of my mother, present here, and the Murillo family, we want to thank IICA for this special recognition. It means a lot for us. I want to use this opportunity to congratulate IICA for the 80 years of success. And I also want to thank the officers, the workers in IICA for this dedication and work for the development of the agriculture in the Americas. Thank you very much. Thank you to you for your words. Now, we are in 1986, or from 86 to 1994. Director General of the Institute was Mr. Martin Piñeiro, who is with us through Zoom. We're going to ask him to address some words to us. He is an agronomist engineer, graduated from the University of Buenos Aires. He did postgraduate studies in the United States in the area of animal health, and then in agricultural economy, PhD in agricultural economy of the University of California. And he had important positions in Argentina, where he was Deputy Secretary of Agriculture and Livestock, head of the Department of Economy of the National Institute of Agricultural Technology. As IICA Director General, he developed mechanisms of cooperation and regional and sub-regional integration. He promoted the democratization in access to the new processes of the technology revolution, highlighting the importance for the preservation of natural resources. Productive efficiency and planning of modernization were also priorities to select programs and projects during his administration. So, Mr. Piñeiro, floor is yours. And we're going to show the recognition in this room. Martin, floor is yours. Good afternoon, everybody. Good evening, good morning. First of all, I would like to apologize for not being there physically with you. As many of you know, I had all the intention to go there, but there were inconveniences that make this not impossible. But I'm here with you in spirit. And as you know, I would love to be there. I have so many memories, so many friends in Costa Rica, not only in IICA. But well, things are this way. I have participated in the celebration. I have enjoyed this. I want to congratulate Manuel for the organization. And at the same time, because such a celebration is a sample of the prevalence of the Institute, and particularly the prevalence for the last years. And this is the task of the Director General and the present officers. But it is also a recognition to the history of the institution. And that we are doing this thing that we are doing now as this recognition to Director Generals is very interesting and unique in IICA. I believe it is the only international organization that gives this space and participation to Emeritus General Directors. I believe this is wonderful, and it is a way to build these things that we call IICA's family, which is, and it is also an intellectual construction, particularly in this institution, and I even say unique for this institution. Thanks, Manuel, for the celebration. Thanks to the friends and the institution itself, and congratulations and memories to the officers of the institution. Thank you, everybody.
Very well. Thank you very much, Martin. We hope to see you again here at headquarters to share with you this personal recognition. I am sure this will be so. Let us continue now. Now I will call upon Margarita Aquino. This is the time to remember Carlos Aquino, Director General of IICA between 1994 and 2002. Agronomist engineer from the Dominican Republic. He studied in his public and in Wisconsin, Missouri, and Texas at several universities there. He arrived as Director General with a strong and long professional relationship. He had been Secretary of Agriculture of his native country, the Dominican Republic. Very much in line with the age, he made some changes in the implementation system at IICA, characterized by flexibility, a focus on activities, and strengthening decision making. He strengthened ties with civil society, private sector. One of his priorities was training human resources for agriculture, taking the Institute to be a pioneer in developing the Inter-American Network of Education and distance education aimed at the transformation of agriculture in our continent. Institutional, managerial, and operational changes stood out, everything aimed at modernizing processes and making institutional work of IICA more efficient. With this, we celebrate the memory of Carlos Aquino through Margarita. Thank you for being with us today. An applause for her, please. We would like to invite her to address us a few words. Welcome. Good afternoon. It is a great honor to receive this recognition in honor of my father, Carlos Aquino Gonzalez. On behalf of the Aquino Toribio family, we would like to express our deepest appreciation. Through his long walk through life, my father was never motivated just because to receive a recognition, except those that were dedicated in benefit and in recognition of the work of harvesters and producers. My father always had the vision to innovate the agriculture sector, thinking of small farmers without forgetting the big contributors to the industry. His life's philosophy was always to fight strongly to revolutionize not only the agriculture sector, but also the quality of life of all individuals. Whatever you plant, you will plant, you will harvest. Whatever you give, you will receive. Whatever you do to others, you are doing to yourself. Those who know what they sow do not fear harvest. My father never feared, because he always sowed in each step he took through his honorable path down life. Among all the admirations I have towards my father, I cannot forget the one where he understood that between sowing and harvesting, there is irrigate and wait. The seeds he sowed continue to yield fruit today. Thank you to this outstanding institution, IICA, which, with great pride and admiration, my father represented for two periods. Thank you to the earth and to the field for being his most significant professors and teachers. And of course, thank you, Lord, for having given him the opportunity to contribute with a grain of sand to the agricultural system of the entire world, to turn agriculture of different countries into something ever more innovative for the well-being of the table for each family. Congratulations to IICA on its 80th anniversary. For me also, as daughter of a Director General Emeritus, and for my family, it is truly a pride to be here today. A combination of feelings here, but thank you to the entire IICA family, its collaborators, both here at headquarters, as well as the different countries and representations for all their dedication throughout these 80 years. All you have made a big effort so that IICA can celebrate in big its 80th anniversary. Thank you, Mr. Manuel Otero. Thank you, Margarita. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for your warm, heartfelt words. Now, we will refer to Chelston, our dear friend. Chelston Brathwaite, Director General of IICA with a PhD in plant pathology from Cornell. He held different positions within IICA before being elected. He worked in Costa Rica, Mexico, Jamaica. His vision led him to set a priority to promote food security and rural prosperity throughout the Americas. And he decisively brought in to IICA the environmental dimension and development initiatives. And he was who institutionalized the Special Consultative Committee for Managerial Events, facilitating through this mechanism a regular exchange of information between the Director General of IICA and the member states in administrative, financial, and strategic matters to address these within IICA. Thank you, Chelston, Senator, Director General Emeritus. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for your hard work. Director General and Deputy Director General have a special recognition for you. We would like to invite you to address us a few words, of course. Thank you. Go ahead. Good afternoon.
Hello. Let me begin by saying that this is a very emotional moment for me. In 1981, when I was at the University of the West Indies, giving classes in agriculture, I was invited by Dr. Francisco Murillo, one of our emeritus directors, for whom I had great respect, invited me to join IICA in 1981. Ever since then, my life changed. I joined IICA, and for the next 29 years, I spent in this organization. Never anticipated that I would spend that length of time in an organization. And here I am today, after having spent 29 years in IICA, to receive an award for my contribution to the Institute. I am fascinated. I am pleased. I am proud of the fact that I had the honor to be part of this great inter-American family. And if I will leave one bit of information with you, which I think is critically important, is that my period as Director General of IICA taught me that in a real sense, a Director General is the conductor of an orchestra of participants and players in the entire hemisphere. And therefore, the achievements of a Director General are the achievements of the staff, the achievements of the people, the achievements of those who collaborate to make the administration successful. Entonces, para mí es un placer, un honor.
So for me, it is a pleasure and an honor, a very deep honor, to be here with you today, to receive this recognition. This is very special. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to have lived in an institution of excellence, an institution with a deep track record. And I mentioned that the Director General is the conductor of an orchestra, remember? And he is leading the rest of the people that are working in the organization. That is the most important part. His contribution, dedication, commitment, that has given me the spirit to continue working in favor of IICA and in favor of agriculture. You possibly cannot capture the depth of my excitement. There are not many places where a farmer is invited. And here at IICA, a former Director General is receiving a recognition and a beautiful welcome. That makes me very excited. Our world today is facing very complicated situations in the agriculture sector.
1942, we had a world war. Today, we also have a world war, but a war with a different dimension, a war with different components, a war that is a more existential threat to the survival of humanity. What is that war? We have the war between Russia and Ukraine. That's only one part of the war. We are suffering the effects of a pandemic that shook the world. We're suffering the effects of climate change, floods, heat waves, hurricanes. We are at a very important point in history. And that point in history says that the solution to our problem cannot be solved by national initiatives alone, but by international cooperation among us. We have to work together to solve the problems of our time. You would not believe it, but the reports say that in the last 2 years, with COVID, 200 million people have gone back into poverty. En los últimos 2 años.
In the last 2 years, 200 million people have gone back into poverty and food insecurity. Oftentimes is not just a food product, but it is in the climate. We have deep challenges. And an institution like IICA that is focusing on modernizing the sector, the rural sector, and which focuses on helping to eliminate poverty, is fundamental for our future. Because if there is something that can be a threat to humanity, that is social inequality. And we have to rethink our models. Countries need to adjust their development to face the challenges we are addressing today. These are very deep challenges. Climate. In small countries of the Caribbean, where we have used tourism as the cornerstone for our development, we are rethinking our model of development because we already have problems with the effects of COVID and all the other changes, climate and everything else. Our economies are threatened. So, IICA, as an institution, has a very important responsibility. IICA's responsibility today is much greater than that of 1942. And I would like to congratulate Manuel Otero, because IICA's team, the excellent job you have all done and continue to do in benefit of the countries of this continent.
With a bit of English. Every once in a while, there's a moment in history that defines the future of a nation, sometimes the future of a region, sometimes the future of the world. The moment that will define the future of food security in the world is now. Because many countries are beginning to recognize that food security is an important element for their development. The food and agricultural sector, therefore, must be valued for what it is, the bedrock of society and the cornerstone of all economy. May this celebration bring this hemisphere closer to achieving the noble goal of eliminating poverty and extreme hunger in our hemisphere. And let us all remember the words of Norman Borlaug, who said the first essential element of social justice is adequate supply of food. Therefore, we must begin to move our people from the anxieties of the present and present them with the opportunities of the future. Don Manuel, congratulations. Congratulations, Lord. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Brathwaite, so that you don't complain that we only call you Charleston. No, thank you very much. As you all know, we have one Director General before Manuel Otero, Victor Villalobos, who was Director General of IICA between 2010 and 2018. Mr. Villalobos is not with us today, but he has very kindly sent us a video. I would just like to mention that he is current Secretary of Agriculture and Rural Development of Mexico. At IICA, he drove science and innovation for agriculture. He promoted decentralization and was honored with 2 honoris causa PhDs by CATIE and the University of Asunción, Paraguay. So without further ado, let us show the video. Warm greetings to all the IICA family, particularly its Director General Manuel Otero, Directors General Emeritus, and all guests that are taking part on this at this important event. The celebration of the 80th anniversary of our Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture, our dear IICA, is no doubt a reason for happiness for all those of us that share and continue to share its history. Agriculture of the Americas in Costa Rica has its home, a home built with the participation of all the individuals that over 8 decades have dedicated efforts to give countries the best technical cooperation, generating and disseminating knowledge that has allowed to improve productivity and, even more important, the living conditions of millions of inhabitants in rural territories. These times of global turbulence remind us of the circumstances in which the Institute arose, and today, as well as then, agriculture plays a fundamental role to play, has a fundamental role to play. Each country in our hemisphere is making outstanding efforts to ensure food security of our populations. Today, just as then, IICA is working next to us, accompanying us in the search for solutions and proposing a future vision for the agriculture sector, and is a relevant organization aware of the needs and requirements of governments. Having had the opportunity to lead such an outstanding organization has been a great honor for me, and I was always thank the staff of the IICA family for their support that as Secretary of Agriculture in my country, I continue to receive from the team headed by Manuel Otero, very well represented in Mexico by Diego Montenegro. We have many reasons to celebrate these 80 years. And regretting I am unable to join you in person as I would have liked, I would like to send you a big hug, big enough that can cover each and every person in the IICA family, that I will always be proud of being part of. Congratulations, and let's go. On we go for 80 more years. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Secretary of Agriculture and Development of Mexico. With this, we would like to invite our Director General and Deputy Director to take a seat, and I would like to invite to the podium. We would like to hear the words of a person that has joined us, a dear friend of IICA, a dear friend of IICA, if the Director General allows me to mention him that way, the son of a farmer, producer, the chair of Agriculture of the Americas, despite only being 41 years old. Ever since 2011, he has been Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries, Livestock, Rural Transformation, and Labor of St. Vincent and Grenadines. Over the last few years, he has addressed the pandemic of COVID-19, and simultaneously his country suffered 32 eruptions of Le Soufriere, the worst tragedy that has affected St. Vincent and the Grenadines in the last 50 years and paralyzed local food production and forced to evacuate thousands of people from a very productive region on the island, which was most affected by the volcanic eruptions. Among his achievements are many. He headed the transition of his country as a banana producer, as monoculture basically, and diversify instead the production, seeking to reduce reliance on the import of food, increase exports, and reinforce food security in his country and the well-being of families in rural areas. So we would like Mr. Saboto Caesar, Minister of Agriculture of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, to share some words with us. We receive him with a warm applause, and I would just like to add that we in the communications area here at IICA are very, very happy to have been able to help St. Vincent and the Grenadines to show off the dramatic situations during the time of eruptions, linking authorities with the most important media in the world. Welcome, Mr. Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. It's indeed an esteemed pleasure and an honor to be here this afternoon in San Jose to represent the ministers of Agriculture and Food Security in all of the member states of IICA. I bring you greetings from all the ministers. And as I sat there, I recognized that in the IICA family, I'm still the baby. It is definitely a moment for celebration, a moment for reflection, and a very important moment for preparation. Let us not forget that when the founder, Henry Wallace, with this brilliant idea, formation of IICA, crystallized his thoughts, he had not an email address. Neither did he have a cellular phone. WhatsApp was a mystery. Facebook and social media, they were not in his contemplation. A seed was sown, produced a very beautiful plant, flowered, and we are here today, 80 years after, not only to look at empty blossoms, but to reap the fruits of hard and dedicated work. It's a moment of celebration, and I pause to thank all the Directors General, the family members here, for lending us your time, the time of your family members, so that we can create the structure and the framework that we have today. But most importantly, it is a period for preparation. To be or not to be. 20 years from now, we will celebrate 100 years of IICA. And for all the future Director Generals, you will stand on the shoulders of giants. There are four fundamental tenets for development. There must always be a clear expression of the political will. There is an important need for legal framework. The factors of production must be mobilized, and there must be a clear process for implementation. Manuel, my brother, you have done an excellent job, and you continue to work very hard in the vineyard of the struggle for the integration of our hemisphere. We see you not only as a friend, but a brother and a comrade. There are millions of persons in our hemisphere who we work for on a daily basis, who we cannot fit in this room. But the hard work of IICA will continue to make a positive and impacting change, not only in our hemisphere, but in our world. Happy birthday, IICA.
Thank you, Mr. Saboto. He received the award in this anniversary, this 80th anniversary of IICA. Thank you, and a round of hands for him. Okay, two things. Before listening to the Vice Minister of Agriculture and Livestock of Costa Rica and the closing remarks of the Director General, we want to show you something very brief, some images of a short video that shows some institutional changes and what we want to transmit to the IICA on the way the IICA centenary. Go ahead. Okay, thank you. We have three final messages for the Director General, who was worried at the time of the ceremony. We're doing well. Only 10 minutes later to close the event. So I want to welcome Julian Arias Varela, the Vice Minister of Agriculture and Livestock of Costa Rica, representing the Minister, Mr. Victor Carvajal Porras. So welcome, and we wait to hear you. Okay. Good afternoon. I hope you're doing well. First of all, I want to apologize the minister who wished to be here now. Happy birthday. Very important to begin with. We are on a party, on a celebration to found an institution. If we say this from a simple point of view, looks easy. Some resources from one hand side, resources from other one, and with a good logo, we may have an institution. Having an institution like IICA with 80 years of history is very difficult. This is the magic of everybody has said here, and the significant work of each collaborator in this big institution. We, as Ministry of Agriculture, celebrate the 80 years. It is not by hazard that we are celebrating 80 years as a minister. The history of our country, the agriculture in Costa Rica, IICA is like the promotion, the development of each one of these individuals that have given the dedication and effort. We really celebrate this 80 years. We may say that we are reaching the maturity age. And we start saying that agriculture of our region needs the institution where we are here today, and we have the honor to be the headquarters in Costa Rica, has developed and grows more. Their research and the dedication has to be seen in our fields. Thank you very much. And now we're gonna listen the remarks of our Director General, and then surprise greetings from Argentina. We decided to include it first because it is one of the artists that participated in the homage to farmers. And also when the Director General refers to agriculture as a big instrument, as a tool for peace. This artist that will greet us has disseminated this with his music all over the world, and we consider it important to include it here. So thanks everybody for your physical and virtual presence. We are very happy to having introduced the book. Soon you're going to have the link to enjoy the book. As my colleague Randall said, we wait for your feedback. And I also want to thank everybody in the communication unit of the Institute for this work to do this publication, and for the audio and visual material we have seen in this celebration ceremony. Director General, floor is yours. Thank you, Guido and Randall. Good news. I'm going to be brief. First of all, I want to thank Guido and Randall. I thought that they will struggle because there were differences in conducting the ceremony, but and anything happens. So in a few hours, the lights of this day will go off, and we have been celebrating the 80 years. As the Minister Saboto said, we need to end the day with celebration. We need to reflect, and we need to think on how to build the next 20 years. I'm convinced that it is impossible to have sustainable development without food security. We cannot have food security without agricultural production. And to do so, we need good rural areas with growers giving identity and life and dynamism to these rural areas. And I hope this was well reflected in the book we are introducing today. on an electronic manner. As the IICA Director General and with this wonderful team honoring the history of those who were here before me, I can assure you a lot of work and effort, because this continent needs to stand up, overcoming some problems that we still have with a modern agriculture, with an knowledge intensive agriculture, with an agriculture with a human face. And we're going to work with that this coming times. There's going to be energy, dedication, commitment. And this is the commitment I want to make in front of you. Thanks once again. I'm very happy and honored today. Thanks for having joined us in the inauguration of the square and for building a future all together. Thank you very much.
Que la guerra no me sea indiferente. Es un monstruo grande y pisa fuerte toda la pobre inocencia de la gente. Hola.
Hello, I'm Leon Gieco from Argentina. I'm here to congratulate you for this birthday. So the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture. Congratulations for these 80 years. And warm greetings for Manuel Otero and all IICA's team.
Feliz cumpleaños y un gran abrazo.
Happy birthday and a big hug. Thank you. Have a nice rest of the day.
Recording stopped.